Before we get into this discussion, I really want to re-emphasize something extremely important. I'm sharing the ideas that have made my life monumentally better. My life. My hope is that something resonates in your life that you can apply or share with someone who you feel might benefit from it. That's it. I am all up on my soapbox, and I understand that. But one of the many reasons I started this channel is because I absolutely hate how everyone seems to be telling each other what to think. I hate the idea that we're isolating ourselves from one another rapidly, oftentimes over very small differences in interpretation of the same idea. As a collective, we really don't need that right now. And as this space continues to grow and more viewers feel inspired to share their unique perspectives, I want these comment sections and our inboxes to stand out algorithmically. Over here, we share what we find valuable and celebrate the uniqueness of every contribution. We celebrate, we explore. We don't really have takes over here. We have contributions. You see what I did there? I said we don't take, we get. Anyway, the most important qualities that we bring to our contributions are reverence and respect. Respect for the uniqueness of your life journey and reverence for your innate sovereignty as a fellow conscious being. I'll re-emphasize this from time to time as the channel continues to grow, just so that we're anchoring these conversations in the right place. Thank you all again for watching and for your questions. It has been a refreshing and uplifting journey thus far. And in my mind's eye, I can vividly see us all feeling safe enough to express the fullness of who we are without fear of attack or ridicule. At least here. This space is a foundation for a cultural shift that I feel is desperately needed now more than ever. With that said, let's dive in. In case you couldn't tell, I have always been a thinker. It doesn't matter where I'm at or what I'm doing. I'm an observer by nature. And I notice the things that most miss, whether I want to or not. My brain's just wired that way, and I suspect it's because I was born to write, to express the distillations of ideas that have lived in my mind for the entirety of my life. In a previous video, I've compared my mind to a perpetually starving bear searching for meaning by tearing into everything, into its smallest parts, and assessing how they fit together like Lego pieces or organs. The unsuspecting moose I'd like to violently dissect today is success. As always, we'll start with a definition so we're all on the same page. Success is defined as the satisfactory completion of something aimed at. Either we've succeeded or we failed. It is a state like on or off, 1 or 0, binary in essence. Well, to me, it's quite a bit more nuanced than that, and I don't think I'm alone there. To me, success is highly subjective and can look quite different from person to person. As obvious as that sounds, let's dive in a little more deeply. I don't think the definition is wrong so much as lacking the necessary depth to truly tap into the part of it that actually is universal, meaning that form of success that we all recognize and value despite our myriad differences. To me, success is less of a finite state like on or off, and more of a radio station we can tune into if we so choose. The radio waves are our life experiences, from the pleasurable, awe-inspiring ones to the devastating, scarring ones. It all comes down to how we harness those radio waves. They can be used to build or to destroy, and the deciding factor, as always, is you. So I ask you, what is success to you? And how do we achieve it? You tell me. I'm not kidding. But I'll start us off. Success to me is a state of being. It's a lifestyle, an internal state. The way I see it, success is something that blossoms inside of you first, and the outer or external world transforms in response to that, not the other way around. In my eyes, you can have the car or the career you set a goal to achieve and still be completely unsuccessful. Because to me, success is not an outcome, it is a process. Now let's dive a little deeper into that process. When I look out at the world unfolding before us, I see a concerning mass delusion about this idea of success. We define people as successful only after they've achieved some sort of external representation of it. But we don't pay very much attention at all to the internal processes responsible for its manifestation. We collectively miss the forest for the trees. We forget that the only constant in life is change, and we attach our worth to temporal structures and lament their inevitable decay, over and over. So we spend the vast majority of our lives in agony, spurred on by the dangling carrot just out of arm's reach, and defining ourselves as failures until we somehow grasp it. This, in my opinion, is one reason why there are so many rich and miserable people on Earth. Many of us are understandably perplexed by this idea. How can someone be so miserable when they don't have the threat of eviction or bankruptcy hanging over their heads? And conversely, how on earth can someone be happy and just getting by? How can anyone be joyful and struggling financially with no prospects of change whatsoever? I've thought about this a lot, and to me, it all comes down to how their inner world functions. Success to me is an inner world of harmony, an internal universe of peace and flow. A world that can only change with your consent. That inner world is a process, a state of being that allows us to make gold from base metals. The pressure and heat from external conditions demand internal harmony for those of us playing the long game in life. Even the short game, but I'm putting emphasis on the long game because, that's what your boy's trying. Anyway, the greatest delusion of all is that there are shortcuts to this harmony. My friends, I have come to find that there aren't any shortcuts to speak of. Only delusions that will one day fade, leaving only the process you attempted to run from. If it's one thing we're especially good at as human beings, it's deluding ourselves. Why take the time to develop a personality or the ability to hold a conversation when I can just get the car or the clothes and people will come talk to me? I'll be valued and admired quickly and demonstrably. How you actually feel about yourself wouldn't hold any value in this example. And for the next 10 years, it probably wouldn't occur to you much at all to think about it because you wouldn't have to. The external metrics would do all the affirming for you. That is, until things inevitably change. At some point, no matter what you do, you'll actually have to acknowledge how you feel about yourself and why. Unfortunately, people usually find this out when the very same people that once worshipped the ground they walked on decide they want to see you fall off the mountain you anchored your self-worth to. And thus, the cycle continues. Either we use the experience as an opportunity to truly see ourselves for the first time, or we utterly destroy the person we were in hopes of returning to the fleeting graces of the masses. And all of that because they took the bait. They took the shortcut. The mass delusion isn't that success can be measured by a manifested result. Results have their purpose. The delusion is that the achievement is what makes you valuable, when To me, it's actually the other way around. Every last one of us has the potential to do truly great things, but it would require every last one of us to do the internal work. The magic is in the work. It's in that process. I like to say that 90% of life is transitory, meaning in between several stages all at once. Most of our life experience is on the way to a significant outcome. So why do we hinge our self-esteem to events that comprise a mere 10% of our vast multi-dimensional lives? 'Cause we're dumb. Just play it. I mean, some of us really are and would benefit from some self-examination, but ultimately, we do this because we're taught to. We're taught this every day, all day, explicitly and subliminally. Irredeemably corrupt people are held in the highest regard because of societal shortcuts. We're taught to revere people with vast sums of money because they have vast sums of money. Never mind the morally bankrupt inner hellscape they numb themselves from daily on full display. Admire their acquisition of stuff. We're being taught that this way of life, if we can even call that a life, is the way to succeed. Have you ever looked deeply into the eyes of some of these people? I don't know about you, but I don't see joy. I don't see peace. I see a body without a soul. A conscious being with no frame of reference to experience joy or peace. And how many of us are actively following their example? Too many, in my view. I would much rather be happy and heading somewhere than already there with no emotional or mental center whatsoever. The work I'm speaking of can be an unsettling process. As you grow and change, your values evolve, which means your vantage point regarding who you are and who you've been is ever changing. I personally believe it doesn't have to be that difficult. We're built to change, and we're astoundingly equipped to do so regularly. But I mean it when I say that it's where the magic's at. The magic is in truly seeing yourself and seeing someone worthy of love now. Seeing someone capable of whatever they set their mind to now. Not after you've created something, right now. Considering your blind spots regarding the scale of reality on Earth does you a tremendous good. It allows you to test what you believe internally. We touched on this in a previous video about the ego. As wild as it sounds, I truly believe that life is a conscious experience that allows us to be shaped into the being we most want to be, if we so choose. And there are no shortcuts in this process. And that's for a reason. Everything you need to actually become that person is in the work naturally. This is why people are so afraid of rejection. If the external world contradicts your internal world, the resulting psychological distress can be immense. And it's because the world is telling you that you don't yet possess the necessary traits to access that life you desire. But is that actually true? We commonly mistake rejection for a lack of worth. We assume that because we don't have the qualities in this moment that would allow us to achieve some external outcome, that we're worthless until we do. And that's the other half of the delusion. And so I ask you, what changes after you receive rejection? Let's say you brush yourself off and give it another go. What changes and how? It would seem to me that in most cases, we reassess and arrange our internal state using the feedback from our brave attempt at the life we desire. That rejection, although painful, is valuable feedback, and with a sound, harmonious internal world, you can receive that for what it actually is without questioning your worth or your potential, because you know that your worth cannot be reduced to an outcome, because you know that you are infinitely greater than any ideation or societal shortcut. So you take what serves and you leave the rest. The road less traveled is the one without the external validations. Those validations are mere shortcuts to actual self-worth, to inner peace, and there's nothing more valuable than that, especially in today's world. So I ask you, friends, if you can empower yourself with enough joy, love, and curiosity to do so, why wouldn't you be unapologetically you now? What could stop you from having the life of your dreams outside of yourself? If you're having a tough time answering that, congratulations. You're already halfway there. I'll see you again soon.